never knew life could be like this. Never thought that I would be the one that you would kiss. I never knew love could be so rough, but now I've found the real thing, I can't get enough. The sweetest surprise caught me tonight, right there in your eyes, while I was kissing you. So don't say that you don't love. Everything you dream of could be here. I used to wish, I used to dream, but now I'm living my heart's wildest fantasy. So I began to believe, because our love is there for everyone to see. The sweetest surprise caught me tonight, right there in your eyes, while I was kissing you. So don't say that you don't love. Everything you dream of could be here. On and on, where good things never end. Ooh. On and on, where we never pretend. Oh, yeah. The sweetest surprise caught me tonight, right there in your eyes, while I was kissing you. So don't say that you don't love. Everything you dream of could be here. So don't say that you don't love. Everything you dream of could be here. Don't know what to say now. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to handle a complicated heart. You tell me you are leaving, but I just have to say, before you throw it all away, even if you want to go alone, I will be waiting when you're coming home. If you need someone to ease the pain, you can lean on